Okay, so we're live. I'm Maria G Force, as you all know, and I've got here my sound guy, my nephew, Michael. I con him into everything. So obviously, Margot definitely would have been the first one to join. Nice to see you, Margot. But hey, there she is. There's my girl. I'm so excited to see you, Joy. I'm so excited. Yes. So as you know, I was watching Tony Doherty's stories earlier today, and I was so impressed and so inspired. And I wanted to talk about all of that, but especially the views around cheat meals and relationships with food and things like that. But there's my favorite, Joy. I want to see Joy if I can actually bring you on with me because I would love you to give your professional insights as well as my go live with Joy. Joy, are you actually are you willing to participate? I don't know if you feel like you want to come live with me. What do you think? Can you just tell me yay or nay on my thing? Oh, yalla, bro. Ivanka, how you going? Good to see you from the area. So many people are joining, which is so exciting. Yes, you have clothes on. Oh, thank God for that. All right, let me figure out how to do this and let's yes, I've got my little tech guy here. Go live with Joy.
Yeah.
Hey.
Now wait for her to.
Let's see. Hey, there she is. One of my favorites ever in the world. Miss
Oh my
Joy Flint. How are you
yeah,
tonight, Joy?
you've got me a really good time.
You know, we've got to keep you on your toes in true
Yeah, and I
fashion.
usually look. Everybody's going to go, "Oh my God, is that what she really looks like in real life?"
It's one of those filters. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, really good.
I think this is such an awesome topic, actually, and it's something that I discuss in so many different ways with different people because it really does. It makes a difference to who it is and the
100%.
why and the why.
Absolutely. And I feel like there's so many dynamics and so many different things when it comes to this question. Like when he said that, like I agree, but then I'm like this, but there's so much more that needs to be discussed around this. There's so much more, and because I've taken that journey, I may not be on the weight loss journey now. My journey may have changed direction a little bit, but it was still such a big thing with the mindset in regards to cheat and balance and what's when people say, oh, it happens, this, that, the other, like what's too much and what is okay, um
Also, I think using the word cheat can be really negative.
yes.
I don't like using that word, to be honest, and I
Yep.
don't allow my clients to use that word because what are you cheating? Are
What
you
I
cheating
think.
yourself, or I just don't like the word. I mean, during
How do
prep, I
you
mean,
what do you call it?
it depends what it is. I mean, for when I'm during prep, I'll usually say it's a refeed.
Yeah.
Because I'm refeeding my body, especially if I've been in deficits for. And I'm so lucky because I can actually have refeeds every week, leading right up till just before I compete. I'm really lucky. But then from 8 weeks out, I change how I refeed.
Yep.
So if I'm saying doing a 20-week prep, the first 12 weeks will be I get a Saturday night off or whatever, and I love cooking. So I usually have something that's I make myself. I prefer that. I prefer to know that if I'm having calories, it's good calories. I
Yeah.
I just find that the value of calories becomes so important.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you go out, you go, that wasn't what I wanted, and then you end up eating more because you then end up having what you really wanted in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then from about 8 weeks out, it's definitely more a refeed. So it's more about what I eat and just more of it.
Yeah.
So say for instance, I'll be having steak and rice. Oh, the quantity of rice will have gone up and the size of the steak goes up. So the food doesn't change, it's just the quantity changes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's two different ways of looking at what a refeed is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I find that like when it comes to like, competition that is so like different to, when you're losing weight and or when you're confused, all of this stuff is confusing. And what I found that a lot of people tried to milk the um oh, I stuffed up, I'll start again tomorrow, or just use that as an excuse all the time. And I actually, even though
Yeah.
I was going through it and whatever, I actually was getting sick of hearing that. I'm like, why are you, why are you trying, why are you doing this to yourself? This is what's been the problem in the beginning. I just feel like it's wanting it enough, or,
Yeah, absolutely. Your goal has to be realistic.
yeah,
And I also think that more people should give themselves daily goals.
yes,
I find that that is a big thing to do the whole gratitude and journaling if that's your thing, but also give yourself mentally a daily goal. And then at the end of the day, just even succeeding one day
yeah,
is it's so empowering.
yes,
And then that becomes 2 days. And then after 3 days, you go, oh my God, I've done this for 3 days. And then it becomes a little bit of if you're, say, for quitting sugar or something like that, day one is bloody hard. Day two, you go, I did it yesterday, so I'll be able to do it again today. And then day three, you don't even have the cravings anymore. So then by day four, day five, you're not even thinking about it.
yeah, yeah.
But it's just the small, realistic goals I think are really important.
I'm
And
really
also,
results driven. So me to have small goals, if they're daily ones, I was getting frustrated because you can't see results daily.
nah,
You know
why
what I
not?
mean? Like,
Hey, I did my legs today. I hope I wake up tomorrow and they're how I feel.
you're right. You're right. But yeah, no, no. But when he said, "Oh, you haven't earned your cheat meal," and you just stop putting shit in your, I actually really felt that. Like I really, really like I felt that, and I was just like, um, I think it's more what he was trying to say is, um, you're on a different path now. You don't have to reward yourself with food. You don't have to be looking forward to a food reward.
We're
Um,
not dogs.
yeah, that's right. And so I think that what he said, people might have gone, "Oh my God," but I can see how. But in a matter of 10 seconds, that's all the only way he could put that.
Yeah, I completely understand where he's coming from. And from a coach, sometimes it's what we want to see is stop putting the shit in your mouth.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
100%.
but
Shut your mouth.
but
That's what I say to people all the time.
but we have to be not just politically correct, which sometimes I don't think we should have to be, but also you have to be careful of people's emotions.
Yeah.
I'll give you a very good example of that. I'll never forget one of the preps I did. I was beyond myself and I decided, I hope there's no kids on here listening because I'm going to say a naughty word.
And I don't think there would be any kids on here listening. They would have been bored already.
I thought, oh fuck it, I'm going to eat some mint sliced biscuits, and I didn't just buy I didn't just buy the single packet. It was like the double family packet.
The double row. I love a good
Yep,
double row. Yeah.
and I demolished quite a lot of them, and I messaged my coach at the time quickly on Messenger and said, just to let you know, I've had a little bit of a blip and I've eaten some mint sliced biscuits, and then I turned my phone off so I couldn't get a response.
Yeah, yeah.
But I felt it better to be honest
100%.
than
Own it.
not, because absolutely, and not just that, from a coach's perspective, if you then have photographs sent to you and you go, something not quite right, she's a bit bloated or whatever, and then they've gone, oh no, I've stuck to the plan 100%, and they haven't. I would rather the honesty. So I was honest and I said, I've eaten all these mint sliced biscuits, turned my phone off, waited for a response, and she didn't respond for 2 days.
Yeah. There you go.
which
Because
she
she had
then,
to compose herself so that she could be politically correct as a coach.
well, no, her response then was, I don't know whether, she won't be watching this. She said, "You don't deserve to be in the world stage if that's what you do."
Wow.
So,
You
going
did
back
whatever
to
it
the
took to get your result. I love that. That's my sister, everyone. Shine Hair Salon Roseberry. Thanks for joining, Jo. She was just here not long ago, and yeah, I said to her maybe to share this with me. She's inspired me so much along the way, and so it's good to have you on board, Jo. So good to see you, and everybody else that's joined us too. Please, feel free to ask questions or to give us some feedback or anything. We want to hear it all, and we want to see what you want to know, and maybe something that you're not sure about. Joy can maybe or myself, we could maybe give you some insights or whatever. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, so going back to the refeed and cheat, that actually, and going back to how you speak to somebody is so important. So because of her saying that to me, I'm the type of person that got really offended by that and really hurt.
Okay.
So I'll be honest, I cheated every single night after that.
Wow. Why
Yeah.
do you think that is?
Because,
Me, my eyelashes are that long because they just grew like that in ISO.
yeah, when I'm like little piggy eyes because all of mine have been pulled out.
So what was your reasoning?
Emotional,
Yeah.
emotional and angry with that kind of attitude towards me because that's not the way I respond.
Yeah.
So, with what Tony said, it will spark people in different ways. You'll
Yeah.
have somebody that'll have gone like you, "Oh my God, that is so true." And then other people that have gone home and eaten double cheeseburger because it's like, "Fuck you, don't you tell me what I can and cannot do."
Yeah. Actually,
But
Jo, weren't we talking about that earlier tonight? We were actually just discussing this, Jo. I'm glad that you said that. It's more about, what did she say? It's the leader in you trying to come out. The discipline. A lot of people don't like the food discipline because it's that it goes against the leader in them of not being told what to do, or it's their choice. Yeah, it's so funny that we were literally just discussing that.
but
So
that's what I think the isolation is doing to us all as well, because we're being told what we can and cannot do. And I think that is psychologically why people are going, "Stuff you, you can't tell me what to do. I'm going to the beach if I want to go to the beach."
yeah,
And it comes down to food and how you speak to somebody. Um, and I think there's a massive psychology behind it. And I think a lot of people don't actually need refeeds or cheat meals.
yeah,
If your coach actually specifically says to you, "Sorry, but you don't actually need that," you listen to your coach. Where if you're given a little bit of freedom, I think that can also cause havoc
100%.
emotionally as well. And then I know if I have a really bad cheat meal, which is not bad compared to some people, on a Sunday I feel hungover and I'm extremely grumpy. Um, Not annoyed with myself because I don't live with regrets. I just go, "Oh, that was really good." I'm going to, but it's just your emotions come in as well.
Yeah,
So you have to be careful with how the person responds to that food as well.
absolutely. Whereas I think that if your coach was my coach and said, "Well, you don't deserve to be on a world stage because you did that," I would be like, "Fuck, you're right. Better fucking fix my shit."
Yeah,
Excuse my language, you know what I mean? I think would respond a lot differently. And that's a perfect example of how, you need to, if you're finding a coach or someone, a mentor in regards to whatever, that they fit you well and that
absolutely.
they
And also
understand you.
that's a learning process as well because you don't know how that person's going to react to what you see. So again, that's a great way of getting to know your client and speaking openly to them and saying, okay, and you do pick up quite quickly of how they're going to react to certain things.
And there's a lot of,
Um,
another thing that, a lot of people out there that are just learning and are just now starting to look for someone to guide them, and whatever. There's a lot of cookie cutter approaches and things like that. You need to be really aware of and ask lots of questions and see kind of if you like, how you feel when they speak to you and the encouragement that they give you right from the
Interview them.
get-go. Yeah, absolutely.
Interview your coach.
That's right. You're hiring them, so you have the right to interview them and to see what you're going to get for well, bang for your buck, really.
Absolutely. I also think there is a problem if your diet is so lacking in certain foods, you will want to cheat all the time.
Yeah.
You have that sugar craving. You're lacking so many vitamins and minerals. If you eat fish and broccoli every meal, or
Yeah.
kangaroo sausages and lettuce, no wonder you're going spastic and your hormones are going all over the place. And certainly females, where we just think, oh, for God's sake, what's wrong with us? We have got no control of our hormones.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you then get the happy hormone with eating something that's a bit naughty.
Yeah.
So there's all that side from a coach's perspective as well of, will you allow your client to have a refeed or cheat meal or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
because the hormone imbalance, and sometimes you get up the next day and you've lost weight and
And
you've
I actually think as well, listening to that, I think that's where I can attribute where it actually switched for me, where it changed for me, where it actually become the beginning of the next chapter, where everything switched for me was the fact that when you get put on a diet by somebody, it's usually a very drastic change. It's very, like you said, and then your body is going crazy and adjusting and this, that, and if they don't know what they're doing, then you're just asking for trouble. But
yeah,
what I found is when I started, I just did my own thing, but I started with the calorie deficit rule,
yeah.
and so I was still having everything, and I was still having even Coke, but I just made it fit into that just to
Yeah,
learn
so
to
you were
be in that
working more. You
deficit.
were working more on your macros instead of like, but
Just
as long as
calories.
they
I
were,
didn't care about any of
yeah,
that. And then
yeah,
I found that then I started making better choices because I wanted to get more food for my calories. And
yeah,
so it was just a gradual change. But because I was sticking to that, I was actually winning. I was getting the results. I was doing it, and I didn't have that big spike in hormone changes. And
yeah,
it wasn't just a big bang, there you go, shock to your system. It
yeah.
was actually so, so good.
That's why off seasons are now so important, and I think more and more athletes are actually learning about the off season. But for normal everyday people, um, going back to what Tony said about, no, you shouldn't be putting that in your mouth. You can. I mean, yeah, we want to see that. God, oh my God, so many times I want to see that, especially in the
Well,
supermarket.
we're
I
being
just,
real here, aren't we? This is what it's all about. It's about being real,
but
and that's
I mean,
it.
you see people in the supermarket, and you go, "Oh my God, you really putting that in your trolley?" So bad. And sometimes you just wish, oh, that you could be a kid again and get away with it. I remember my kids saying the most horrific things to people at the checkouts, because obviously they'd heard me say it
Oh, I love
previously.
that.
So they,
Anthony says you're a beast, Joy.
who is Anthony?
Anthony's
Oh,
part of
yeah.
my GeForce team.
Right, okay, bless him.
Yeah, he actually slipped over and he's got a back injury at the moment, so he's
Oh
not happy
dear.
on bed rest and things. We
Oh,
all
that's, but Anthony, that's even worse, having bed rest. You've got to get up and get mobile and get that blood flowing through.
yeah, slip disc. Just keep
Yeah,
it.
been there, done that.
Oh God, I bet you have. Bet you have.
Well, I
But
was told that I'd be in a wheelchair, so yeah, been there, done that.
wow,
Yeah.
what do you mean you would? I didn't know that. Tell me.
Oh no, that's a whole different subject.
Oh,
That's not
okay.
about tonight. Let's keep talking about food.
Yeah, let's keep. Has anyone got any questions for Joy or for myself? What does And he said, "Okay, I will." What did
Yeah.
yeah. What does this mean? It's mad early. How you're tweaking still? Is that right? Is that not? I don't know what that means. Can you pros club? I don't know. Can you elaborate on that? But has anyone got any questions, or what does anyone think about the cheat meal thing? And yeah, I'd
And
like to
how
hear.
should you phrase it? What would people prefer them actually to be called that doesn't make them, because there shouldn't be guilt with it.
Yeah,
If you're using it sensibly and using it for a purpose, there should be no guilt.
that's
If
right.
you're just eating for the sake of it because you feel as though you deserve it, that's a whole different scenario.
Yeah.
And most of those people that think that deserve it are usually pumping it out in the gym, doing the chest, going out to a nightclub, pissed all weekend
Good
because they
time.
think they deserve it, and then start again all over again on a Monday,
Yeah. Yeah.
not
Yeah.
realizing
Yeah.
they wonder why they're not changing, and it's because then it takes it 3 days for the system to clean itself up. So really, it's only starting to work by Wednesday, Thursday. Then they do it all again on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. See, I just think as well, like you said, like the whole reward with food, or I've earned it, or this. That's not how you got to look at it. You just got to look at, you know, you just. I think the relationship with food is so important. It's the only way. Like, it wasn't actually the exercise that I was doing. Once my mind changed,
Yes,
everything changed. Doesn't matter how
absolutely.
hard you're going, I don't give a shit who you are. If it's
Yeah,
not up here, because I see so many athletes, they've got these eating disorders and they've got all this shit because they still haven't fucking fixed this.
I
And I
couldn't
just,
agree with you more. And the more and more people I'm around, and lap bands and all of these things that are still not getting the help
no,
psychologically,
agree.
and it saddens me immensely.
No, to
Um,
go to that extreme, you obviously want it so badly. And I think that with that kind of procedure should come some counselling as part of the whole therapy and treatment.
Absolutely. And I completely agree with going down that route if you're going to die.
Yeah,
And if you don't lose the weight, that's the end result. But just there's so many other, yeah, I that's a
yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's a
that's
whole
a
other thing
whole.
as well.
Oh
Yeah,
yes, we could
absolutely.
talk every night, but I might make sure I'm not in bed the next time. I might even do something like put some makeup on and wash my hair after 2 weeks, just for this. We might get more
I
viewers.
feel special. You'd wash your hair for me, Joy. Wow.
No, 2 weeks now. God.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's so many things that I really, really want to talk about it, because, like, you know what, there's so many coaches and people and motivational speakers and whatever, they've got all this, but I just think, like, there's no one's talking real,
About just us,
just
about
us here
real,
having a conversation,
yeah, absolutely.
involving people in it, doing that. There's no actual, like I said, I don't want to be that person, because there's so many people talking about different, like the scientific things and the
That just
technical
goes
things
whoosh.
and this and that. And yeah, so I don't need to be doing any of that. I would rather be having a conversation, a real conversation with
Yeah,
everybody, learning from everybody, maybe being able to
absolutely.
inspire people myself with my experiences. And if we all get something out of it at the end of the day, perfect. That's my goal.
Absolutely. And as you and I feel, it's even if we've helped one person and that one person goes away tonight or whenever and goes, oh my God, that's just triggered something. That's all we ever ask for.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah, and that's you. That's what I messaged you earlier and said, it's our purpose. I mean, we're lucky to have found something that
Which is what
we
also Tony was saying, find your thing,
yeah,
find your thing. And I think, I feel like, just by as just as a consequence of everything that I've done over the past almost 3 years, I've found my thing indirectly. I didn't know that that's what I was looking for, that that's what would inspire me or fill my heart the most, was
yeah,
actually talking to other people, and not, but on a different level, not from an educated perspective, so to speak, not from, you know, those angles, but from a real heart to heart
absolutely. And I
thinking.
think you'll get far more response with that. And I think social media should be more of that. I think there's too many people put on a front. And
Yeah,
you and I know, because we're around the business, of exactly how they're really feeling.
yeah,
And then it's like you see a post and you go, why did they just say that? That's not
yeah.
really how they're feeling at all.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I love the fact that, like, on this platform, people can actually be interactive and ask you questions. And, what you started off, you can digress, but it will just take the most beautiful turn. And Anthony just said there's too many fake people, and it is so true. It is so true. There's too many people just spewing bullshit, or not saying how they really feel. And you can see it, you can
Yeah.
feel it, you
I
can
think
see
we're
it.
becoming more and more aware.
Yeah, big time. Absolutely. Awareness is actually the right word. Like we're waking up to it. We're becoming more aware to it. Yeah, so I'm really excited to be here and doing this. And this is my first one, so I'm glad that we actually have, like, we're floating between like 7 and 10 people, and I'm just loving that. I'm just like, oh, we thought it was just going to be us, so this is brilliant. This is brilliant. I
Me
love
and
it.
my
I feel so
and my
accomplished
and
right
see if
now.
my dog's here. Can you
Oh,
see him?
yeah. Oh, it's so
Fast
cute.
asleep.
Gotta love
Stein,
puppies.
fast asleep. And I've got a pussycat right next to me as well.
Oh, wow. There you go. See? You're surrounded by
And
love.
the other dog's under my bed. So we've got 3 of them in the room tonight.
Yeah.
Another thing about food is, how do people actually look at food? If you go back to the caveman days, I suppose, food is fuel. And if you have that mindset flick and you go, well, yeah, there's a scone and jam over there, but what does my body actually require? Am I hungry? Am I thirsty? And just take 5 minutes. Do you actually, there's a difference between wanting and needing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, sometimes,
Yes,
like being Greek as well, food is always like part of a celebration. And
absolute.
I didn't want to take that away from it for me as well. Like,
Yeah,
the food for fuel and all of that. Like, the line was really blurred, but I didn't want to lose, because, some of my best memories is over sharing the meal with people that make me warm and fuzzy inside. So, and it wasn't the best
absolutely.
food, like, but, just learning
It's
to
bloody awesome food.
it is. So, it's just, it's the 80-20 rule, isn't it? What they say, and like,
Yeah, but then if you look at any, you can, right, look at it emotionally as well. Every shit, that was a cat. That was a cat. Emotionally, if you, sorry, one of my cats has just fallen off. We've got a cat that climbs through the roof, and I think she has just fallen off.
oh no. But they always land on their feet, don't they, the cats?
I think she's actually just fallen. Yeah, off our windowsill.
Far out.
And
Wow.
we're 2 floors up.
Oh.
Oh dear. Never mind. She'll jump. She'll live.
Oh my God, Juju, how are you? This Juju's my one of my best friends ever, a son, and I've known him from so little. Now he's a man with a beard and stuff. Like,
It's
it's just wrong on so
gone
many
from
levels.
nice and cute to a man with a beard.
You went from a little boy to a man with a beard. Like, it's just wrong on so many levels. But, it's good to see them joining, and you're just like, oh, hi. So it's good to see, the little ones that you've kind of watched grow up.
That's cute. I think she
Yeah.
just fell off that windowsill.
Casper's not looking.
Yeah, she just fell.
They land
So
on
we've
the
got
cats though, don't they?
yeah, and we've got another 3 anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah. So
But
you were saying food. What were we saying?
yeah, so going to the difference between looking at food and if you think about every emotion that we go through, happiness, what do we want? We want food. Sadness, we want food. Angry, we usually turn to food. Celebrations, food. You name it. Tiredness, we turn to food. So it is bloody hard to take that element out of an emotion.
Exactly.
And it'll always be the first thing that you think of. Like even going to the cinema, what do we think of? Popcorn. But it's things like that you have to then go, okay, I'm going to watch a movie without having popcorn, because it's the enjoyment of going to the movies. It isn't really about the popcorn. That's just an after thing that's come in for the popcorn makers to make money. So if you change it around, or I'm trying to think of another, birthday parties, what do you always have? Cake.
Don't tell me to
Um,
take the cake out of my birthday party, Joy, because you and me, we're going to have words.
but but
Yeah, I get
it's
it.
funny because when the goal is that strong, the cake doesn't even come into it because you turn the emotions around to enjoying such a wonderful birthday.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, I get it. I absolutely get it.
So instead of when you're angry of using food as an escape, go and do something else. Go for a
Oh,
walk, do
yeah,
something else, and take the food element out of it. So it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't even matter what nationality you are, because I mean, I suppose me being Scottish, I could say it's deep fried pizzas and deep fried Mars bars. Yeah, I know. You wouldn't think that as about Scottish, but even as a child, food never really was that big a thing for celebration with because I didn't look at food like that even as a child.
yeah, I did.
Um, but then you go up and down with that
Hi,
as well.
sweetheart. Yeah,
Sometimes you have complete control, and other times you just go, oh fuck it, I'm just going to eat that Mars bar. What does it matter? I mean, really? And as long as you move on from that, does it really matter?
yeah, yeah. A lot of people, if they do that one, have that one Mars bar, then they spiral because they're too busy making it wrong and punishing themselves and
Yeah,
again, like putting it in a box of right and wrong.
yeah.
You
Which there
know,
isn't a right and wrong.
no.
There's a move on. Oh,
Wow, wow, that's not really good. Who are you? And let's report you because
there's a big trash and she's just fell off.
Casper's got it.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
Is
she's
she
fine.
all right?
Yeah, she's all right.
Okay. Number 4, cat's okay.
yeah. Oh, beautiful.
So, Anthony, have you got any questions with regards food?
Yeah, Anthony, you did ask one earlier. I think we went past it. So, um, yeah, what did you say about one meal before? What question was that, Anthony? And putting on fat?
One cheat meal will not make you put on fat.
And I think it was more about not eating enough.
Mm.
So I think he's just typing. So I think it was more about, yeah, not getting enough meals in and then that possibly affecting his ability to lose fat or I don't know. We'll see um, what he says.
So that's an interesting one as well, of binge eating. So does that come
Yes.
down to, oh, I'm just having a cheat? Is that a binge? Or so there's so many aspects of it. And that's why you just can't put it down as stop eating that shit. Yeah, there's a certain bit behind that. Of course, you need to stop eating the
Okay, so
shit.
this is what I wrote. If I'm going to sleep all day and eat only one meal a day, am I going to put on fat?
Why are you sleeping all day?
Maybe because of his back injury, I don't know. But well, yeah, why are you sleeping all day, Anthony? Goodness
That's
me.
just not fair.
And what's your opinion on alcohol? And I guess that
Oh,
means when it comes to the fat loss, I guess, the weight loss.
or as
But
alcohol, as
Anthony's
in
trying
for
to
your.
actually build muscle as well. So yeah,
Okay, right. So alcohol, there's a big thing about alcohol and how it's actually, again, it takes about 3 days to come out your system. So, and it depends whether you decide to only have half a glass of red wine and that be done, or is that going to be as part of your cheat? And I know some people that they have to have their glass of red wine as part of the cheat meal. And like you said before, you just put that into your calories. So if that's part of your calorie count and you want a glass of red wine instead of having 4 slices of bread and butter, have your red wine. If that affects you mentally more of having a glass of red wine than it does for me like having a bar of chocolate. Let it be your thing. If that's what's required. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
But binge drinking, and trying to put on muscle, there's definitely some detrimental effects with having alcohol.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, and again, it depends how much you want the alcohol or how much you want the gains.
That's right. It's gains or alcohol, buddy. Your choice. Your choice.
And with going to sleeping all day and only having one meal, again, intermittent fasting, some people only have 2 meals a day. And you're given 2,000 calories and you've got to fit in 2,000 calories in 2 meals. There's no wrong or right. It's what works for you. So
As long as you
I
get the calories in.
absolutely, I much prefer, and you're probably more the same as me, and I've actually trained myself negatively to be the fact that I need to eat every 2 to 3 hours. My
Yeah.
blood pressure and my blood sugars go so low that I can't focus and do my job properly if I don't eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where some people can go all morning and not eat till about 1 o'clock in the afternoon,
Yeah.
and then slam the rest of it in the afternoon. So, Anthony, it depends what you're having in that one meal, why you're sleeping all day, what the rest of your activities like. Obviously, because of your back at the moment, that's difficult. Um, but do try and get that blood flowing through your back as well and keep moving and get the legs moving and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I got asked a very interesting question a couple of days ago, and there was a few different kind of perspectives, and I haven't answered it yet. And I said that I would. I really wanted to think about it, but now that I've got you here, I'm going to ask you. I had one lady really reach out to me and said to me she's doing really well on her job, but from time to time she'll go have a binge and do
Yep.
that, but then she will go and vomit that up. So she wants to know if you have that binge and vomit it up, right? Is that considered an eating disorder, even if it's once every couple of months, say, or when it actually happened, when she has that kind of that snap? Or because she doesn't do it every day or very often, does she still have an eating disorder? And I'm like of one, if you do it, you own it and you move on and you do what you need to do to just whatever. And even if you're only doing it very not regularly, I still feel like there's an issue you need to address.
There's definitely something there. Absolutely, you're right. So you need to look and ask how she feels after making herself sick, because that's
Yeah,
usually the feeling that you'll have to link it with. Does she feel empowered because she's then got rid of the food? So then you have to look at, well, why does she feel the need to get rid of the food? Does she live with regrets, or is she embarrassed?
yeah,
And
yeah.
does she
I would
feel
say
that,
yes, yeah, absolutely,
yeah,
yeah.
or does she feel as though because bringing it all up that it's not going to be in her tummy and it won't have made any difference?
Hey, Helen. Yeah, exactly.
So there's different factors to it's not necessarily the why,
yeah.
it's the how does she feel afterwards that
But you know
you'll
what?
have
That's
to.
a really good. Like I said, I had all my thing, but I had never actually thought of after doing that what gratification it gave her, or what was the actual thing that she gained from doing that. Because there's obviously got to be a gain for you to be doing that.
Yeah. Is it a power thing? Because then she feels in control and thinks I'm going to binge and it's all right because then I can bring it back up again. So it's not a problem. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Or is it an emotional thing because she feels so angry with herself that that's her way of controlling it and getting rid of it and going, it's okay, I can control this because I'm going to get rid of it and let's pretend it didn't happen.
yeah,
So it's not the doing it that necessarily needs to be fixed. Yes, that does need to be fixed, but it's the after of how she feels mentally. And a
yeah,
lot of people I know will do that with cheat meals as well. And that's a thing mentally that we all should be aware of. Whatever fat loss journey or whatever you're trying to achieve in life, it's the it's the after emotions that we really need to be careful with, because
I think she
there's,
confused herself because she doesn't do it very often. She was did not understanding kind of where she's at, and I think it doesn't
yeah,
really matter if you do it every day or every 3 months. You know, there's
yeah,
a reason there. There's
absolutely.
something that needs to be addressed.
And why does she feel the need to binge instead of, is there something, a trigger that as soon as she starts having sugar or something like that, that she just can't stop herself? So
Yeah,
obviously leading up to her doing it, there's something missing nutritionally from her diet as well to make her feel this need to do it. So again, looking at her diet leading up to that, because usually if you fill out a diary, you can see where it's going to happen.
yeah, wow, yeah.
And
Because
that
you
could
know
be a
what, to be
hormonal
honest with
thing
you,
as well.
you know, back in the day when I was just making really, really good progress, and if I went and had pizza, say, and whatever, not that it was a cheat meal, it was just because it's part of life, and that's,
Yeah.
you know, and I actually, to be honest with you, I did consider it once or twice here and there. Like it actually, I'm not going to say it's never crossed my mind to do that.
Oh,
You know, I would
yeah,
think I've been doing so well. Do I, do I want to do that?
yeah.
And you know, I
I
actually, and then I
think,
thought to myself, what are you even saying? You know, like, but I
yeah,
caught myself actually there in that spot. So it's really easy to get there,
yeah,
to the point where you want to, yeah, for whatever reason it is. So I thought that was a really
absolutely.
interesting question that she
Yes, I mean, it's something, I can't think of anything worse, because what a waste of food, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's right.
But I can easily see it happening. I'm completely with you. The thought has gone through going, oh my
I
God,
do
what have I
too.
just done? I don't want to be weighing heavy on the scales when I've got to do a check-in tomorrow, and if this is the only way I've got to. So I probably would say that majority of people have thought about it, whether they've gone through it or not. I don't know, and it's not something that I've really come across, to be honest. But then is that because people don't tell me? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. That's it, you know, and I don't think it's something that people actually talk about because I think they feel they'll be judged for even thinking it or whatever, which I don't,
Yeah,
you know, I think these days people are more open and because a lot of people are actually stepping into their power and actually talking about these things
yeah.
and acknowledging that it exists and it's not a taboo subject. Um, Anymore. So I really, hey Alex, oh I love you. This is one of my favorites right here, Alexander. You know Mark Pearson, Mike, Magic Mike. I think I just said Mark, but I said Mike. He was
Mike
after, yeah,
Pearson.
yeah. That's his lady.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's his lady, and what a lady she is.
There's a beautiful IFBB pro girl called Jackie,
Yeah,
who is, I don't know whether you follow her.
I'm not sure.
Um, yeah, she is just amazing, and she's opened up about her eating disorder. She's
Oh wow,
Australian,
wow. I
and
want to.
it would be
That's it.
worth you actually following her. And she's just started to open up, I would say, over the last month or two.
Yeah.
And my God, her stories are powerful, of
Wow.
even to the point where, um, oh, it's just quite horrific to read her
Yeah.
stories. And
Yeah.
she's been
Oh my God.
completely
Hey
open.
Steve. Old friend from Albury back in the day.
I didn't realise you were from Albury.
No, I'm not from Albury, but I lived there for 10 years.
Ah, right, okay. And
Yeah.
look how many people have joined. My
I
lucky
know,
number.
we're famous. We've got 10 people.
Oh, we were 11, which was my good number, and it's now gone.
That's all right. We can make up some lost ground. It's all good. Okay, what did Sunita say? I feel like the off season is worse for me after losing weight, now having to put weight on to gain muscle.
So, in what way are you struggling?
Yeah, in what way are you struggling? And while she's answering, can you continue about, was it Jackie that you were telling me about?
Yeah, she's amazing because she's come out clean, saying that she suffered very badly with an eating disorder. And I think we could
And is
all
this
see
during
it.
her competitive career?
Yeah.
Or, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so
And I
that's always
don't
good
know,
to know that these, you
and I
know, that
don't know
it's
whether
okay.
it was the competitive career that caused it or whether she
Okay.
was like that and that's why she went into competing because it was another controlled thing. But she tells amazing stories of even going to the supermarket and walking round and round the supermarket so that she could eat something. I mean, little things of reading every single label. And I think we've all done that to a certain extent. This is a really good question that would be a really good topic for you, and it's still on the food. Right, as competitors, do you think, were you a team girl? Were you a team sport girl, or did you just like doing things by yourself?
No, I was a team sport girl.
All right, okay, that's unusual
I was,
because most
yeah.
of the people I meet have always been in
Yeah.
individual
They're like
sport.
lone wolves.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
didn't like team sport.
Yeah.
And it's questions that I'm asking more and more of finding out why people have gone into competing. And I think it's either been in there from somewhere because they've never liked team sport and finally they found something that's for themselves. And have we always had that, not eating disorder, but have we always had that that dysmorphia slightly
Yeah.
that's
That's a good
made
one.
us do the sport, or is it the sport that's caused it?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, there's like it's all in your head, is it, Sunita? What's in your head? They're having to put on the weight to gain muscle off season. You have
But
body
there's a,
dysmorphia. Yeah.
yeah, see, there you go. So that's learning to step back from the mirror and forget about how we actually look at us doing this for a purpose. If you want to step on stage again looking exactly the same way as you did the last time, keep the body fat off, keep eating lean and everything else. But if your passion is to look better than you did the last time, you have to go through this process just as much as you have to do an on season. The off season is just as important as, in fact, I say the off season is you can't build a house without the foundations. It'll fall over.
Yeah. Oh well, good on you. Good luck with that, Sunita. You know, all the best.
So
Yeah.
are you doing, Sunita, are you doing Olympia in December?
No, I think Sunita's she competes at the INBA. So I think the INBA
Ah,
in
right,
Vegas.
okay.
Yeah. So
Right.
she yeah, INBA I think is next year the Olympia, is it? No. No, this year.
So,
Oh, when is
so
it?
they call that the
The
Olympia
Natural
as well.
Olympia.
Right, okay, right,
Yes. So to 2021. So next year.
right. And does she have a coach that helps her off season, or is she doing it all
Yeah, yeah,
herself?
yeah. You've got a coach, don't you, Sunita? Yeah, I think she does. I think she's under Mike Waddington. I think he's the president of the INBA here in Australia.
Right, okay. And
So
as long as she's honest with him, that's the main thing. And
that's
even
it.
tell him how she's feeling because he has to be aware of that. I tell my coach everything. I tell him when I'm having good days, when I'm having bad days, because we have that kind of relationship, and you should find somebody that you can just moan to or whinge to, or I mean,
Oh yeah,
and just say, you know what, I've just eaten a packet of mint sliced biscuits.
yeah. And that goes, you know, even if it's not a coach, even if it's someone that you're uh, got to look like as in a coach for weight loss and all of that kind of stuff, you need to have someone there that's there to support you through all of that. That you can say that you just had that biscuit, not someone that's going to send you this like a diet that's going to last for like 6 weeks and then check in after 6 weeks of doing whatever. Don't sell yourself short. Don't settle for that. You can find a wonderful. There's so many. Able, supportive coaches out there, as well as shit fakes out there as well. So make sure you do your do. Hey Tom, that's actually Sylvester Stallone in his young
I
days.
I thought it was Sylvester actually. That's what I thought.
Yeah, yeah. So do yourselves a favor and don't rip yourselves off. Actually, have a coach that's going to support you. And I've heard so many stories of people that don't actually get, and they don't actually know that that's actually part of the service, that should be part of the service.
But also finding a coach that doesn't just sugarcoat everything all the time. I mean, because that can be detrimental as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need pulled into line. So
Oh,
not the,
100%. That's
oh,
their job too.
it's
They need to
all,
know when to like come at you softly, softly, and when to pull the pin and go, yo, pull your head in. You
yeah,
need to get your shit together.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, and that's really important. So, Sunita, good luck and don't worry about it. Look at the reasons, the purpose, and why you're doing this. If you want to be more successful, this is just part of the process. And believe me, it's hard for all of us.
Yeah.
When your trousers, your jeans don't fit anymore and you feel disgusting, you look in the mirror and go, oh my God, why have I let myself go? And believe me, it gets a lot harder the older you get too.
Yeah, yeah. Like I've actually put my when I was the last competition, the clothes that I bought around that time, I put them away. That's like my on-season clothes, not my off-season. Keep them away. I don't want to know about them. I don't want to. Yeah, I'm loving.
But then also, but then
Yeah,
also you change every off season and on season as well. Well, that's the goal. So, like I'm 10 kilos heavier um, than I was even this time last year.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, my my Freddies, I don't think even come above my knees. So Freddie, so my Freddies are hanging in my wardrobe, not probably ever going to fit on again.
Then you've literally hung them up. Like,
Yeah, and they
oh,
just go, nah, you won't get me on today. And it's like, yeah, you're right. I won't.
it's
My
not, I'm
ass
not
is
even
too
gonna
big.
try. And what do we say? I take my hat off to you guys who compete in this sport. It must just be as mentally hard as it is physical. I think it's even mentally harder than it is physically. As drained and as tired and as sore and all of that that you get, it's all in the mind. And I find a lot of people that actually gave up in a lot on the home stretch.
I
They'd come
know.
so far, they just could not just take it anymore. They were just that close, like a week out or something, and that close, and then they just could not bear to stay in the race. And it wasn't a physical thing; it was just in the mind. So
So,
it definitely,
Sunita, I'm just reading Sunita's comments. So, well
yeah,
done for some taking time off because hormonally, you need to take that time off for your body to recover, um, get your gut health back on track, and everything else. And then the mental state will get better with that anyway. And allow yourself some downtime and enjoy it. And don't ever feel guilty.
So 9:20.
yeah. Wow, I was just asking Michael what time is that. We've been yapping for nearly an hour. That's so good. I love that. I just got like 5 minutes. 5 minutes. But it's definitely something I want to do on a regular basis. I really want to, yeah, and I maybe collect questions during the week and have different themes and, yeah, uh,
What we could do is actually you and I make this a thing every week, and then I'll put it all over my social media as well, and we'll get questions.
yeah, do that. That's so good. That's so good. I love this. Like I said, I love that it's a conversation. No one's speaking at anyone. No one's trying to sell anyone anything. I don't have a program I want you to buy.
Nah, there's also
I
no
don't have an
judgment.
agenda.
Nah.
You know, I want to learn as much as I can from you, and also,
Well,
and
we
also
learn from everybody learns from each other, and
exactly,
that's what's
and vice
important.
versa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we should never stop learning.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, like I said, not only that, I find that we can all inspire each other too. We all have our down days, and when I'm having an up day and you're having a down day, we can lift each other up and support each other. You
Absolutely,
know,
absolutely.
and I love that. That there's a platform like this that we can actually do that, and support everyone in their goals and whatever they may be, and even if they just need a friendly face to look at. If anyone follows Joy or her business
Oh my
page,
god.
oh my God, she's always got her tongue out. I don't think
Oh, I know.
you're always sticking every selfie is with the tongue out. It's
My
so
mum
cheeky. I
is
love it.
my mum is still horrified at me. She's like, all my childhood photographs of me sticking my tongue out, and she still says it's a nervous thing. I'll be honest, but there you go. I'm talking honestly. It's a nervous thing because I
Okay,
cannot stand looking at
it's
myself
what it is. It's real talk, really. So you stick your tongue out just to kind of
because
like, is
that
it for
takes
me to
away
think?
the
Yeah.
edge. And
Wow.
when I was a gymnast, it was just something that I did before, like running to the box and doing my handstand flip or whatever. I would always stick my tongue out, and the judges would say she has to learn to put that tongue away because she's going to bite it off.
Oh, nothing really. Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, every morning I'm like, oh, I take selfies of me looking all beautiful with all the filters on, and then I go, oh, delete, 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 delete. This is me.
Yeah. And I love it. And even sometimes I even get the ones that didn't even make it to social media. I get the, the special ones that just come straight to your inbox. And I'm like, yep, day made. No better way to start my day than a selfie with Joy sticking her tongue out at you. Have a good
my,
day. Love
my
you.
mum's like, oh, for God's sake, you need to stop it. You're near 50, for goodness sake, put your tongue away.
Oh God. But I'm really excited for like this next year with you, Joy. Like I just
It
feel
is, it's
like
exciting.
we've got big things planned and I'm just so pumped.
I can't wait to
Especially
train together again.
the best. The best. You
Yeah.
absolutely nail me. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. It's the best. But I can't wait to come and see you
Yes,
and
absolutely.
visit you and your gym there in Port Stephens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's it called? Tell everyone where you're from and who you
PT
are.
Fitness.
PT Fitness.
PT. Yeah, it's called, well, it's actually Personal Touch Fitness
Okay.
because the whole point is the fact that it's not just your normal gym. We're all a bit wacky, and
You're a family. You're a
yeah,
group. You're a
absolutely.
community.
The dogs go there, and it's just all about looking after each other.
Yeah, perfect. I love that. Love that. And that's just
Mm.
you in a nutshell, though. That's just you are like truly represented. So I can't wait to come and visit that, feel that energy.
Well,
Oh,
it won't be long.
what does Alex say? She tries all the filters and she thinks she looks great, then she deletes it because I'm a big scruff at heart.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely. And don't ever change
No, you
because
don't
me
ever change.
sticking my
But you know
tongue
what?
out, yeah,
She's the prettiest scruff I've ever seen in my life. So, I'd be scruffed too if I looked like that. It's like you can get away with it. But
me sticking my tongue out makes me smile. So if I can make myself smile first thing in the morning.
100%. 100%. I love it. I love it. It's just being me, like
Right.
you said, it's being authentic.
Right. If you want to get everybody to ask questions, and we'll have a theme for next week. Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
what would people like as a theme?
Yeah.
That's
So start thinking about it, what you might like as a theme. Like I said, we'll digress a million times, no doubt, but that's always fun too. So yeah, I'll think about it too. I'll check out some ideas and see kind of what everyone thinks, have some votes, and when should we do it again, Joe?
I think this is actually quite a good time every Monday because
Yeah,
I don't have to.
Monday
Because
motivation.
yeah, well there you go. Because yeah, I don't have a 7 o'clock start on a Tuesday, so it's when I've got to be up at like 5:30 that I'm like, so
Yeah. Well, yeah, then that's
perfect.
right. So Monday night's a good night. So we'll do it
Yep.
as a standing the Monday night one. What if cosmetic surgeons has opened their doors? Pubs are talking about opening their doors. Why can't gym open their doors? Don't even get us started. Don't even get us started.
It's a
But
really difficult one. There's no consistency behind anything, to be honest.
yeah,
And I think if we get hooked up on it, that's when we start to get frustrated. The emotions come into it. And if it's something that we can't control, there's no point.
yeah.
It is what it is. We can't do anything about it. And they'll open. And as a gym owner, it is very upsetting.
But
And
we
if
can't try and make sense of something that actually doesn't make sense because we end up
no,
driving ourselves nuts.
yeah, and I am doing that. I would say part of every day. I'm going through that process. And today I had 4 back-to-back clients, and it was peeing down with rain, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do with my clients? And I'll either have to cancel them because I'm not allowed to bring them in my gym. And
Wow.
that's what's very, very hard. And I'm not even a commercial gym. The commercial gyms are going to be hit hard.
Yeah, they have already
I
been hit so hard.
Yeah, I know that it's going to be a little bit easier for us because we're only a little family gym. We're still 24 hours, and I think the 24-hour side will be taken away.
Okay.
I think gyms going to have to be, if they're wanting 24 hours, they're going to have to be manned 24 hours, like they are in a lot of other
Yeah,
countries.
yeah, yeah.
And
I've just
legally, I
got a
don't.
notification from Instagram. We have 30 seconds remaining. So,
Oh,
yeah, I
does
know.
it tell you?
Yeah, it tells you. Yeah, I think you're only allowed to do an hour at a time. But yeah, but thank you to everyone that
Yeah,
came
thank
and
you.
participated and joined us and supported us. And it was so wonderful. Thank you, Joy. Thank you so much.